Hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder. And yes, you see correctly, this is actually a Soviet premium chat. Battle rating 9.0, rank 5, the Mig-15bis ISH. Now, obviously, I think everybody of you is aware that we have now supersonic chats, we have now premium chats, and all those things. And I think it's time to overcome my, repel feelings towards chats and just try it out. And to a certain degree, I actually had fun. However, not everything is glorious and perfect. There are obviously issues. But that's not the topic of today's video. The topic of today's video are the first steps. The first steps for me in a while. I personally never really felt like chats are amazing and chats are the thing to go for when it comes to researching planes. I had much more fun and so much more diversity and so also much more skill at lower battle ratings, at lower tiers. And I think the super prop era was where I thought I found my point of interest. That's a personal opinion. And so when it comes to chats, a lot of people think that I have absolutely no idea whatsoever about chats. That is not correct. See, the thing is, just because I don't make a video about something doesn't mean I have no idea about it. I try chats out from time to time, and so I gathered experiences. I know the basics, and I think a lot of the lack of skill that you might see in this video comes from lack of practice. And practice, situational awareness, and just having a feel for the plane are the three major components that guarantee you a successful battle or decide whether you not succumb to the enemy team. So, where to start with this video, where to start with any of the things that I want to say, because there are so many of them. Well, to be honest, I have no idea. I have no idea where to start, and I had no idea where to start with the chats. Should I just jump right into one of the supersonic chats and unlock everything with golden eagles and just, try as many battles as possible and then just make a kill compilation claiming that I'm the best pilot in the world? No, I don't think that's the right thing to do. And I think for me personally, this is now the golden opportunity trying to get into chats again and in a more serious manner. But to be honest, in the current state, I don't really see that I will really love chats, that I will really be the greatest pilot ever that there is. You could see two critical errors, but also a perfect bait on my behalf. And this is the replay. Obviously, I didn't record it because it was a good game. So obviously, I didn't record it because that's just how things go. But honestly, I think it could be worse, okay, with the introduction of the new supersonic jets. It could be worse, it could be obviously better, and I think let's talk a little bit about the history of mine with jets. So the first experiences with the jets were the low-tier jets, the Meteor, the Me-262, and also the MiG-9s, and I didn't like any of them. I thought they were garbage and they are trash for two reasons. First of all, I think I had just better controllability in my super props back in the days when I played arcade and I first unlocked them over 5 years ago. And yes, I know the flaps, but honestly, what I actually want to say is I also had to fight versus Mig-15bis and F2 Sabres in my Me-262 when it was stock, and believe me, that was not fun. And that was always one of the critical points. I never played chats and had fun. I mean, there were some rare examples. There was this one battle where I actually had 15-0 kills in arcade, which is like ages ago. And I think furthermore, I was never repelled by the repair costs or the research of the chats. It was always more like, I don't have fun. I don't see like this is being awesome or this is good. So a lot of things just made me not play chats. But I think, as now a YouTuber, which I wasn't like 5.5 years ago, I think I should at least give it an honest try. And so I talked now to a few guys, amongst them Sovereign Thunder. In the future I try to actually talk to Chengar, and all those things combined might just lead to a different approach towards RRB. And I know this plane has probably more utility in tank RB due to its ground pounding possibilities, but I wanted to just try it out in RRB. I just wanted to see what it's like. And also with now radar guided SPA, where the enemy team always has 10 of them when I'm in the air, but there is not a single one in my team when aircraft are attacking me. You know, it's just the story of my life. I don't want to, you know, throw it into tank RB and just waste it, and I hope you forgive me here. But let's just talk about the plane itself. And this battle is now lasting longer. It's more like the average battle with a decent result for me, as you will see later on at the end result screen. But let's just talk here about the Mig-15bis ISH. It's a 9.0 jet. It can face 8.0s, where you have mostly the upper hand if you play it correctly and use its power output and its energy, and never give up altitude and don't go into a stupid turn fight versus planes where you will lose against. But versus 10.0s, oof, the discrepancy is big. And even versus a lot of the other 9.0 jets, the Sabres in particular, I don't really feel like in a direct 1 versus 1 continuous fight I will be, you know, I will have the upper hand. That has to do because of the massive drags of those bomb pylons, despite not having any sort of ordnance whatsoever carrying with me. Then also the guns, which are placed below the fuselage. This starts from the MiG-9 onwards. You have the high velocity 37mm or okayish velocity 37mm and to 23mm. It's a very standard armament for Soviet jets, and the 23mm are very slow. They are mostly comparable to the Mk108 from the Germans, so not very well suited for high-speed combat. And I think this is what the plane actually doesn't do very well, where it lags up. But what it actually does is it's rather maneuverable at a lower speed, so around 600-700. Above this 800-900, you really feel the stiffening. The top speed is above 1,000 kilometers per hour, but you still will not catch a Hunter or a Sabre, and they will also, what it looks like, out accelerate you. Again, I think a lot of this comes down to the drag of the bomb pylons, but I'm not quite sure. Let me know in the comment section. I think I want to catch every single advice that you have. I have no idea how this is comparable to the Mig-15bis in the normal tech tree, the German one and the Russian ones. And I also think that it would be very interesting in the future to try it out in RRB, what all the rocket and bomb options actually can deliver. They are very oddly placed, and I think I have no idea how they work. Okay, I have no idea how to use them, but I think if you have 8 S1 rockets, or you have up to 48 S5M rockets, you can do quite a lot of damage. And then you have also up to 2 500 kilogram bombs. So the plane has definitely some potential for ground pounding, as well as in RRB. But I have to say, don't use it, at least from the beginning. Maybe if your team clearly has won the battle and you have to RTB anyway due to the lack of ammunition, which you can run through fairly quickly, then you just might try to load it up and just try to get some pillboxes, get some tanks, maybe even a scratch bombing point, for the sole reason that you just can tip the balance of the battle and just force the hand of the enemy. Because if he is running, if he's circling the airfield, but his team has a little bit of advantage in the ground pounding hemisphere, then you just might be able to tip the balance and force the hand of the enemy player. So here you can see I try to stick with my team. There are many things that ruin chat experience for me. First of all, I hate clouds. I cannot say how much I despise clouds in chat combat, and in conjunction with it, obviously the red box problem, the spotting system, the spotting mechanics within War Thunder, in conjunction as well with the clouds, it's just awful, dreadful. I don't like it. And it seems like also the 23mm sometimes just simply spark. Now that brings me to the guns. As I said, they are mounted oddly and they are rather slow muzzle velocity. You have a very limited amount of ammunition. Whatever belt you feel comfortable with. For me personally, I use here the air targets for the 37mm, and for the 23mm I use the air targets. I could also use stealth, which would be really great in head-on scenarios, or if you have to jump on somebody and he is totally not aware of you, then maybe, but I trust high explosive shells a bit more in the current patch. Obviously this is down to personal taste, I guess, but they are no match for 30mm, for 20mm, or in particular 50 cals in terms of reliably dishing out the damage, hitting the target, having the shell density. I had it a few times that enemy players were just flying straight through my, well, bullet beams, so to say, or hail of bullets rather, and they just fly through taking no damage. And I think this is a bit of a problem, especially everything above 500 meter is extremely difficult to hit for me personally. Obviously, occasionally the lucky snipe is possible, but the armament really is a drawback. And or a lot of people actually confirmed this. Well, you have to lead a lot, and if you think you lead enough, lead more, and if you then don't hit anything, lead more. But you can see it's also with the controllability of the plane. I personally have some problems with it, but then you can also get the occasional hit here. So separating your armament to small caliber guns and big caliber guns is recommended. So there is this. The next thing, what I actually don't really like so much about this, but I think is necessary because of the patch being relatively new, and I think the American jets get a bit more favored by the player base. We have a lot of mixed battles. We have a lot of inequalities by the matchmaker. For example, we had two full teams fighting each other, but there was just on our team one single Mig-15 versus 7 F-100s on the enemy team when it was not a mixed battle. And that is just simply awful. That is not fair, and it's certainly not fun. So I kind of remembered on the how it was with the 8.0 meta before the patch dropped. And I think we need a mirror ranking matchmaking. What I mean by this is that both teams have the equal amount of players, obviously, and also the same amount of 10.0s and the same amount of 9.0s, at least for top tier. I think this would be fair, this would be cool by Gaijin, and I don't think that is that much of a problem in terms of programming it. Let me know what you think. So, yeah, I think I can get much more out of the plane, but some of the limitations are just not easy to overcome. Like I said, the problems with the guns and the drag, the acceleration. I don't know, maybe I should take less fuel, but I always never feel comfortable with less than 20 minutes or starting with less than 20 minutes. And this is one of the battles where I think it was necessary that I took the more fuel option here and not the minimal fuel. So I think the Mig-15bis ISH is a decent premium. It is probably a bit more versatile in a ground pounding department. How this works out compared to the F-86, F-35, we'll have to see. I have to fly this and have to check it out. But the American premium jet seems to be a bit more a bit better suited for the air-to-air combat. So how it actually turns out, we'll have to see. But please remember, this is for quite some time the first time that I actually put my toe into the cold top tier water. So yeah, there is much to learn. The dynamic of the gameplay obviously is different to props, and I know how to play with the thoughts of enemy players, but to transfer this knowledge into gameplay, into awesome shots, that's not always possible. So I hope you forgive me. Again, if you have tips and tricks, let me know in the comment section. I'm open for suggestions for all the dirty little seal clubbing tricks that you guys have. Again, I talked to Soren Thunder on his stream. He gave me obviously some general thoughts and some general tips, and I appreciate them. But I think when it comes down to mastering here chat's experience by playing, learning by doing, and just using common game sense, I think this is always very interesting to use. And to train this, you can train this with props as well. So I think while the gameplay plays out differently, the basics are the same. Don't go into a one versus multiple. Don't go head on with everything and just keep the head on and just leave your team behind and rush into the enemy and try to solo like 5 people at once. It doesn't work. When it comes to the fine nuances, just look at this. I lead extremely and then give a burst in which he only can escape into. And we actually make a very good ambush here. I don't know if this was now spawn camping or airfield camping, but I had to kill him. And it was an F100, so it was a worthy kill. So that leaves us now with a Hawker Hunter being chased by... a Hawker Hunter? Is this a mixed match? No way. Yes, it is. But honestly, I think we have also one thing, Gaijin, that we need to talk about. What the hell is it with your new top tier premiums and their reduced Silverline modifiers? Okay, what I'm talking here about is that the Mig-15bis ISH has here a modifier of 2.1 times 2.0. But the maximum modifier that, for example, also the German Premium P47 has as a rank 3 one is 2.4 times 2.0 for Silverlines. And I think this is strange. It's not like you get a minimum amount of Silverlines, as we'll see. It's okayish, but at the end, it is a reduced amount compared to lower battle rating, lower tier 1 planes. And the bundles that you pay for the F-86 35 and also here for the Mig-15bis ISH, they are the most expensive planes as far as I know in the game. So it's not right to give them not the highest amount of Silverline income. Maybe Gaijin tries to balance here the spam of the vehicles, but why don't then they set it up right so that the spam doesn't happen in the first place? So I don't understand here the logic behind it. I'd love to get an answer from Gaijin, because this is just not okay. We see more and more top tier stuff being introduced in the game, but less stuff introduced that makes you the amount of Silverlines that you need to actually, after you research the stuff with, the vehicles that you paid for, the premiums, to actually purchase it and put it into a crew and then get the expert qualification, which in particular for chats is so necessary because of the stamina and also the G tolerance being just, +3 across the entire board of the pilot's capabilities. That is pretty mighty, and as much as you black out with this plane, it is a damn necessity. So because you don't have here, compared to the fighter version, you just don't have a G-suit, which you have on the MiG-17. So you can imagine that despite you being a decent turn fighter at lower speeds compared to some of the others, or at least you can turn with them, you just black out so often, and then you have to invert the elevator to get the stamina back to your pilot and all those things. So it's a mixed bag. I say this plane might be very capable and very versatile. I could surely get more performance out of it. But at the end of the day, I think other jets are just simply better at fighting other jets. It comes down to the flight performance, the lack of lock-up at higher speeds, the better acceleration at top speed, and also the different gun systems that just are better at dealing with other aircraft and more reliable, so with more ammunition. So that is the Mig-15bis ISH. Surprisingly enough, despite all the drawbacks that I just mentioned here, I had fun. But I have to say it might come down to, you know, having some lucky shots, having to sometimes face new unexperienced players, and then getting some kills. So the scenario could be worse for me personally. Objectively, I'm not quite sure what to think about. Remember, these are only the first steps. The next info is you might have seen the lower quality of the video and so forth. I'm back on my old system because now I'm at home over the course of Christmas. I hope you don't mind this and still give this video a like. And again, please let me know in the comments what you think about this gameplay, what I did in particularly right and wrong, and what are your questions about it. So now let's have a look at the results, and there we can see with the terms of civil lines it's only 44,000. However, we get 23,000 vehicle research points with a 10% booster, and I'm not quite sure. I know it's not a not the best rewards, and it's better than what you get for tanks, I guess, but still, it could be better. And you can see, for the first time in a long time, I'm below 100 million silver lines, and I doubt that I will get back to it anytime soon with trying out here the new 10.0 jets and all those things. I don't see myself grinding 10 million silver lines just like this when I'm done, having a look at jets. So, I don't know. First steps are the worst steps. That's it for me today. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like, give it a subscribe if you want to see more. And we'll see each other on the ground, on the waves, and in the skies of War Thunder.